Good morning, boys. Today we are going to focus on direct proportion. Now, proportion, as we've already explained several times, means that two ratios or fractions are equal. So we can use both ratios and fractions to solve a given equation, but we can also use, and I'm going to explain later, the unitary method. Okay? Now, boys, there are two types of proportions. There is the direct proportion and there is also the indirect proportion. For this year, we're going to focus on direct proportion, okay? You will do indirect proportion later on, all right? But for this year, we're going to focus on direct proportion. Now, direct proportion is when two quantities change in the same way. This means that they either both increase, right, or they both decrease, right, when there is a change in the situation, all right? They both increase or they both decrease when there is a change in the situation. That's why it's called direct proportion, because if one changes, it will affect the other in the same way, but it has to increase as well or decrease as well, alright? Mela, for example, the cost of apples depends on the number of apples bought, alright? So, the more apples bought, the greater the total cost of apples, okay? You have to pay more for the apples, okay? Another real life example is the faster the speed, the greater the distance covered, alright? The faster the speed, the greater the distance covered. So if the speed is increasing, alright, that's why there's an arrow pointing upwards. So the distance is increasing as well, alright? Okay, another example. The greater the number of persons, the more food is required. You increase the number of persons, so you have to increase the amount of food that is required, alright? They are both increasing, okay? So in these three cases, in the case of apples, in the case of speed and distance, in the case of persons and food, alright, we are talking about direct proportion because the quantities are both increasing, alright? Now, on the other hand, if you buy less apples, your total cost would be less. So less apples are decreasing, so the total cost is decreasing, okay? One quantity is decreasing, the other is decreasing as well. The less sleep you had, the less energy you have, okay? The less you sleep, the less energy you have, okay? So, when two quantities are decreasing, right? At the same time, okay, if you buy less apples, then your total cost would be less, and if you sleep less, then you have less energy, all right? Then we are talking about the direct proportion because the two quantities are both decreasing, all right? Now, let's try to solve two examples, all right? So in the first example, we have Jenny paying 150 euro for 2 nights for a bed and breakfast accommodation. How much would it cost her to stay 5 nights at this accommodation? So, is it a direct proportion? If you increase the number of nights, would the total cost increase? Yes. So, as the number of nights increase, the total cost increases. If the number of nights decrease, then the total cost decreases as well. So it is a case of direct proportion, okay? Now, boys, earlier on we said that to solve them, okay, there are several methods. We can use ratios, we can use fractions, right? We're going to use the unitary method. Now, what is this unitary method? Unitary, the first part of unitary is unit. So this means that we need to find the value of 1 first. In this case, it is the cost of 1 night first, alright? Before finding the cost of 5 nights. So let's write a short summary, a statement. 2 nights will cost 150 euro. So 1 night, how much will it cost? Mela, to work the cost of 1 night, I have to divide 150 by 2. So the cost of 1 night is 75 euro. When I need to find the value of 1, I always divide, right? To find the value of 1, I always divide. Now, but I am not asked about the value of 1, right? I need to find the value of 5 nights, right? So I'm going to find the value of 1 night, and I know now the value of 1 night, and I need to find the value of 5 nights. 1 night will cost 75 euro, so 5 nights, how much will it cost? When I know the value of 1 to find the value of many, alright, I need to multiply 75 euro times 5, that is 125 euro. Alright, it is 125 euro. Okay, now we've used, so that's the unitary method. Okay, that's one method. The answer is 125 euro. Now, if we want to use the cross multiplication method, okay, using ratios, we will end up with the same answer. So we have night is to cost, alright? If she stays 2 nights, then the cost is 150. So 2 is to 150, alright, is equal to, if she stays 5 nights, how much will it cost? So it is equal to 5 is to, I don't know how much it will cost up till now, so I will label the cost as up till now. So 2 is to 150 is equal to 5 is to C, alright? I started with n, the number of nights, 2. In the second ratio, I have to start with n as well, with 5, alright? So 2 is to 150 is equal to 5 is to C, because I don't know the value of the total cost of 5 nights, alright? Now, when I have a ratio, when I have 2 ratios, alright, which are equivalent, so I have a proportion, I can write them as fractions. So 2 all over 150 is equal to 5 all over C. As you can remember, we've done it. I can cross multiply because I have a fraction equals a fraction, so I can cross multiply. And I will work out 2 times C is equal to 150 times 5. 150 times 5 is 750. And that is 2 times C. To remove the times 2, I need to divide both sides by 2. Okay? So 2 into 2 goes 1. 2 into 750 goes 375. To remainder 1, that is 7 goes 1, 375. So C, the cost of 5 nights, it's 375. And I here had a mistake. 5 5s are 25. 5s are 35, 36, 37. So here there is a mistake, alright? But at least now we know that the 2 answers match, alright? So if I work with the unitary method, I end up with 375. If I use the cross multiplication method, the answer is still 375, okay? So I can use both methods as I prefer. Now let's work another example, a very popular example, an example with recipes, alright? Fred has a recipe for 30 biscuits. Here is a list of ingredients for 30 biscuits. He needs, for 30 biscuits, he needs 230 grams of self-raising flour. He needs 150 grams of butter. He needs 100 grams of castor sugar. He needs 2 eggs. But Fred wants to make 45 biscuits. I need to work the amount of self-raising flour that he needs in order to make 45 biscuits. So let's start by writing a summary, a statement of the information that I need and I'm going to use. For 30 biscuits, alright, for 30 biscuits, he needs 230 grams of self-raising flour. That's what I'm interested in. For one biscuit, what is the amount of flour that he needs? To find the value of 1, right, I always divide. So I divide 230 by 30. I can cancel the zeros and I end up with 23 all over 3. 23 all over 3. Okay. Those are grams. It's important if 23 all over 3, if I divide it, it is a recurring decimal. So it's important that in this case you leave, and I'm going to write it down in red because it's important, leave as a fraction. Alright, leave as a fraction. When it cannot be reduced, when it cannot be cancelled, when it cannot be simplified further, leave as a fraction. Alright, now boys, now I know, alright, I'm going to write it, that one biscuit, alright, for one biscuit, I need 23 on 3 grams of self-raising flour. For 45 biscuits, how much flour do I need is equal to how much? When I know the value of 1 to find the value of many, alright, remember that I multiply. So I multiply the value of 1, 23 all over 3, times the 45. Now I can cancel. You can now realize that is why it's so convenient to leave as a fraction, because they can cancel. The 3 into 3 goes 1, the 3 into 45 goes 15, and 23 times 15, it is 345 grams of self-raising flour, okay? So I found the value, I found the amount needed for one biscuit, okay, first. I left it as a fraction because 23 all over 3, it's a recurring decimal, alright. Then I found the value of 45 biscuits because Fred wants to make 45 biscuits, alright. The 3 into 45 cancels out. 22 times 15 is 345. In this case, I use the unitary method, but you can still use the cross multiplication method, which would give the same answer, okay? So choose whichever method you prefer, all right? If you are using the proportion, the two equivalent ratio method, the cross multiplication method, okay? Remember that if you start, for example, with the biscuits in the second ratio, you have to start with the biscuits again, all right? If the second part of the ratio would be the amount of self-raising flour, then the second part of the ratio should be the amount of self-raising flour that is required. Alright, pay attention, alright, don't mix them up because you get a wrong answer, alright. So that's all for today's boys. You're going to have similar examples for homework, right? But if you get stuck doing your homework, try to work out these examples on your own first, so you would realize whether you've understood them or not, okay? So that's all for today, boys. Good day and take care.